Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to delve into a chapter of Canadian history that is profoundly somber and often overlooked. It's a period that challenges the very image of Canada as a peaceful and progressive nation. We're talking about the era of Indian residential schools, a system that operated for over a century and left a legacy of deep intergenerational trauma. To understand this, we need to go back to the 19th century. The Canadian government, in partnership with various churches, established a network of mandatory boarding schools for Indigenous children. Children, some as young as 3 or 4 years old, were forcibly taken from their families and communities. They were transported to schools often hundreds of miles away, completely severing their connection to their homes. Imagine being a small child, ripped away from everything you know and love. In these schools, children were punished, often severely, for speaking their native languages. The entire system was designed to erase their identity. Life inside the schools was often horrific. Overcrowding, poor sanitation, and inadequate nutrition led to rampant disease, particularly tuberculosis. Beyond the physical neglect, the children suffered from widespread abuse. The loneliness and fear were constant companions for these children. There was no one to comfort them, no one to protect them. The system operated for more than 160 years. The last federally run residential school didn't close until 1996. Think about that. The effects of this system are not confined to the past. The trauma experienced by survivors has been passed down through generations. This is what's known as intergenerational trauma. And the breakdown of family structures have had devastating impacts on the health, well-being, and social fabric of Indigenous communities. When you take away a people's identity, culture, and family bonds, the consequences are profound and long-lasting. It's a collective wound that has yet to heal. In 2008, the Canadian government issued a formal apology for the residential school system. Prime Minister Stephen Harper acknowledged the profound harm caused by this policy of assimilation. This was a significant step, but it was just a step. They documented the painful, personal stories of what happened in those schools. It was an incredibly difficult but necessary process of truth-telling. The report included 94 calls to action, specific, tangible steps for all levels of government, churches, and Canadian society to take to begin the process of reconciliation. These calls to action address everything from child welfare and education to language, culture, and justice. They call for better health care for Indigenous peoples, for inquiries into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and for the implementation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. The discoveries of unmarked graves at former school sites have brought a new urgency and a new wave of grief and anger across the country. It means listening to the voices of Indigenous peoples, reading the stories of survivors, and supporting Indigenous-led initiatives. It means challenging the stereotypes and misconceptions that have persisted for far too long. This chapter of history is dark. There is no question. It's uncomfortable to confront, but we cannot look away. The resilience of Indigenous peoples in the face of such immense adversity is truly remarkable. Through it all, they have fought to preserve their cultures, languages, and identities. The National Indian Residential School Crisis Line is available 24/7 for anyone experiencing pain or distress as a result of their residential school experience. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to learn about this important part of Canadian history. Every conversation matters. See you next time.